there, Dr. Craig Chalkwist. This is part 2 of What Good Are Folktales, and we were talking about the story The Devil's Sooty Brother, one of the Grimm's stories that they got from Dorothea Wieman, the German storyteller. So to see the previous video, just a reminder, swipe left and you can see all my videos. Same with any other creator on TikTok. So back to the story. So the Devil's Sooty Brother has negotiated his way into an inn. He's now cleaned up and presentable. And so he decides after staying the night at the inn that he needs to see his father. He hasn't seen his father in years. He couldn't have, he's been in hell, right? Sweeping the floors. So Hans goes walking through the countryside, and as he walks, he plays music. And the story never says what musical instrument he's playing. I always imagine that it's a flute. You're imagining maybe different. And so anyway, he goes along playing, and a king of the country that he's walking through hears the music. And it's so moving and beautiful that the king tells Hans, I love your music, and why don't you marry my eldest daughter? And in a little twist to the usual way this goes, the eldest daughter looks at Hans and says, I would rather walk through deep water than marry this guy. But the younger daughter apparently sees something in Hans that she likes, and so she says, I'll marry him. And so the story ends with Hans playing the music, rising to a higher place after being in hell, and then marrying the king's daughter. So for me, one of the most poignant parts of this story is the image of Hans learning how to play music in the center of hell. And so that's an image I'd leave you with. A couple more things before we go, but you know, a question that you might ask yourself is, how am I learning to make music in the center of hell? What tactics, what cleverness am I learning in these hellish situations that I'm now faced with? What kind of, to draw on what I said in an earlier video on Persephone, what kind of night vision do I have now? How am I able to see in the dark and nevertheless head into the light? So these are the kinds of questions that we can ask when these folktales speak to us. It's easy to just dismiss them, but we also lose the gold in the knapsack when we do that. We may think we're dealing with soot and ashes, but there's actually something there that's worthwhile. So I'm going to, on March 8th, I'm going to do a free online presentation, and we can have some conversation about something I'm starting to call lamplighting, which is bringing light into dark times. So one of my goals will be to train a network of lamplighters, drawing on things that I've learned throughout my career and my studies. And so lamplighters would kind of be worldview therapists, therapists for the culture. And what I mean by that is bringers of story, wisdom, hope, dream, vision, aspiration, because I think a dark time needs those things. And I'm absolutely not talking about positive thinking and humming past the graveyard. One of the reasons I like that particular Grimm story is that it puts you right in the center of hell, where the action is. And that's where the lamplighting action is too. I take the word lamplighting, by the way, from my fiction. I wrote a lamplighter trilogy. So anyway, March 8th, 10 to 11, it'll probably run over, 10 to 11 Pacific time. If you're interested in attending that, it's free. So go to my website, chalkwist.com, and there's a link there to register for this event. And also, I won't spam you. It's my website, my setup, so you won't be spammed. You can also sign up for my monthly events newsletter too, if you want to keep track of what I'm doing. But there's an opportunity to learn more about bringing a little bit of light into the world and learning how to play music in the center of hell. Thanks.